You and I are professional event attendees. So for 2022, who's your award winner for best event and why?
Yeah, I sometimes joke that we are industry analysts are professional event attenders, and I think I spent 42 weeks on the road this year. Uh, so yeah, we attended a lot of events, and this is a tough one. Of course, I want to say, hey, the 6.5 Summit is the best event that I ever went to. Hey, there's Bill. Bill just came in. How about that,
Hey,
Bill
Bill.
Ruff? Huh?
I said, hey, Bill.
What's up, Bill? Thanks for coming, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow on the plane. Yeah, bud. See you, Bill. That was fast. But best event, it's a tough one, right? I mean, Qualcomm had some really good events. The one in New York, the one in Hawaii. Heck, IBM Think, best small event that I went to when events came back. But I got to tell you, I'm going with Cisco Partner Summit. And the reason that I gave it that was, first off, senior executive accessibility is big for my determinations on technology and companies. It's just the way that I roll. The way that I roll. And literally, nearly every senior executive staff member was just at the cocktail hour. Right. I think Chuck was the only person on the staff who didn't show up, but he came in and talked to the analysts, and I got to chit chat with him. So that's absolutely huge for me. So got to hand it to the folks at Cisco. Good job on that event. And here's the funny part, Dan, and maybe it's because I wasn't expecting it to be a good event, right? Because I like tech and I like announcements, and they rehashed a lot, but it kind of got me center aligned. But me and execs, I like the senior exec thing. That's, I can smoke them out, right? After a 15-minute conversation. I do respect the products and everything coming out, but I kind of get what I need from the senior execs.
Absolutely. And I didn't attend that one, but I do remember you coming back. I even think on one of our episodes here, you were sort of glowing about it. And again, as professional event attendees, we really do get a sense of what's good and not. And so it's hard to kind of streamline it down to one. And you already gave my pick away. But before I give my pick, I did want to give a little bit of context.
I didn't give your pick away.
Well, you mentioned who I picked when you discussed the ones that you liked. And so, the criteria I think is different for, overall best. I guess it's a little bit of all these things. You mentioned one thing. I do think executive access and either one-on-one or small group time is very important. I think time value is super important. How many days do we have to spend to get what we need? Because when you're in as many events as we are, there's a combination of this nice to be back in person, but there's also this other side of like, hey, let me get the info and get on to my next thing.
Yeah.
Another is location. I mean, where are you doing the event? So you mentioned Hawaii. I mean, obviously great event. Of course, the downside is it takes like a full day and a half to get to and from. So if you can feel good about sacrificing the time, waking up in Hawaii is never a bad thing. And of course, there's other parts around the world that we go to events that are really great. Another thing, Pat, you didn't mention that I really weigh heavily is treatment of us as analysts. Huge thing for me is like certain events, you're basically treated no different than any other attendee, which again is fine. But when you do as many events as us, I think having a little extra love, good meals, having a lot of coffee available, making sure that people are handling you, getting you to your meetings. And so there were some great events like that. Like, for instance, Salesforce, Oracle do great jobs of that kind of stuff. But my pick, IBM Think, you mentioned it. I fell in love with this smaller event this year. Yeah. I fell in love with smaller, more intimate events. And I really enjoyed AWS reInvent, Pat, and doing all that. But that size of that event creates stress for me. When you can do an event that was kind of in a small location, a small place, get access to a ton of executives, get in and get out together, I think that was like the perfect storm of activity, time, executive access, and handling of us that would love to see more events like that. And I don't know that companies can get a good return at scale doing events that small, but for analysts, it was perfect. And so Pat goes with Cisco Partner Summer. I'm going Summit, and I go with IBM Think.